serving warrants. And then there was a situation where there was a suspect we can confirm now is dead. And actually, that individual could possibly be receiving a warrant. But we can tell you now the two officers, both at shock trauma, being treated for non-life-threatening injuries after a shooting this morning around 12:30 in Northeast Baltimore. Let's go now live to Dave Detling. He has been on the scene with us, gathering information, talking to neighbors, and apparently quite a scene out there, still very, very active. Dave, what can you tell us about what happened around 12:30 this afternoon?
Yeah, still a very active scene here, Kelly. We got on scene around 2 o'clock, and that body that you mentioned is still outside one of the apartment doors. We are just outside of the Garden Village apartments. So beyond me, there is still a flurry of police activity. Baltimore City Police have set up command headquarters. If you can see into that parking lot, that is where caution tape is set up, and to the left of that is where the body is. We did see what appeared to be a U.S. Marshal protective shield leaning up against a tree. But what we know, like you said, they were in the process of issuing a felony warrant when they were met by a suspect with a gun. Gunfire was exchanged. Those two officers, one, like you said, a Baltimore City police officer, the other a Baltimore County Sheriff's deputy, was taken to area hospitals for treatment. That suspect, no name right now, is deceased. The body still on the scene. A lot of neighbors came out here wanting to know what was going on. Many of them say they heard the gunfire and they were concerned as to their safety because at the time they weren't sure if a suspect was still on the loose, but now they are relieved to know that that suspect is not on the loose. Again, he is reported deceased on the scene. Still unclear what exactly that felony warrant was for, what type of crime that individual committed, but still a lengthy process in this investigation ongoing. They are collecting evidence, working the scene right now. We also did see them working around what appeared to be a black GMC Terrain SUV with tinted windows. Unclear if that vehicle belonged to the officers or the suspect in question. But again, a lot of questions remain in this investigation, and as any new information becomes available, we will bring it to you. But that's the very latest from Northeast Baltimore. Kelly, we'll send it back to you at the desk.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. And again, with any situation, officers are always taken to shock trauma where they will receive the absolute best care. I can tell you right now that the county executive is at shock trauma, as well as representatives from the FOP, as well as Jack Young as well, trying to make sure that the officers are okay. We're going to send it out now to Mallory Safaste. She is at shock trauma. Hopefully she can give us the update on the officers. We had heard early reports that they were non-life-threatening injuries. Mallory, is that true?
Yes, Kelly, that's what we're hearing. That's the positive news out of this, that these are non-life-threatening injuries. But we did hear from the U.S. Marshal Service that one of the officers was shot in the leg, the other in the stomach. And we've been out here for some time waiting on some kind of update on how those officers are doing and the severity of those injuries. As you mentioned, a number of elected officials have been in and out of here. And we just heard that we are expected to hear a press conference around 3:45. And We'll first hear from Dr. Thomas Galea, the physician-in-chief at Shock Trauma here. He'll give us an update on how those officers are doing, the extent of their injuries. Then we'll hear from Baltimore City Police Commissioner Michael Harrison, Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt. We also have Mayor Jack Young, Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski, Baltimore City Council President Brandon Scott, the city state's attorney Marilyn Mosby, and we're even maybe expecting a visit from Governor Hogan. So we will bring you the very latest once we hear what they have to say at the press conference around 3:45. We're now reporting live at Shock Trauma. Mallory Safaste, WMAR 2 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Mallory. We do have information about their press conference. We will take it to you live when it happens at 3:45 this afternoon. Statement from Governor Hogan on the shooting in Northeast Baltimore this morning. He said this morning, 2 members of the joint federal, state, and local task force, a Baltimore City police officer, as we've said, and a Baltimore County police officer, struck by gunfire during a warrant apprehension operation. The task force included state troopers assigned to the Maryland State Apprehension Team, as well as Maryland Transportation Authority. He says that he has directed the state police superintendent to offer the state's full support and all available resources. We ask Marylanders to join us in praying for the full and speedy recovery of the brave officers who were injured. And this, sadly, is the latest in a series of incidents that we have been seeing regarding officers being injured in the line of duty. Just last night, we had a situation near Hollands Ferry Road where 2 officers were injured after a confrontation with 2 squeegee men. Luckily, those officers only suffered minor injuries. And then back in August, actually last week, Anne Arundel County, we had 2 officers who were shot in the line of duty. Back in August 2019, off-duty Police Sergeant Isaac Carrington was actually shot while talking to a neighbor right outside of his house in his front yard. Apparently, there was a robbery attempt and they shot the officer. Luckily, the officer was okay. Now we're going to continue to follow this breaking news. We can tell you right now, it happened in the 5900 block of Radke Avenue, as Dave said, right outside the Garden Village apartments. And again, the officers were from the Apprehension Task Force, special unit set up by the governor in terms of handling these types of situations. Crime really has been out of control in Baltimore, according to city officials, state officials, the governor as well, and there's been efforts underway to try to tackle some of this crime in Baltimore City. Let's go back out to Dave now, because we've been hearing some comments. Okay, all right, let's go. We'll go back out to Dave shortly when that press conference gets underway at 3:45. We're again going to continue to monitor this situation. Again, 2 officers shot and injured in Northeast Baltimore this afternoon around 12:30 while trying to serve a felony warrant. We understand that the officers are now at shock trauma. They're receiving the best of care right there, and we will continue to update you on their questions and their situation as we go back to a press conference at 3:45. We're going to wrap it now, take a short break, and then come right back.